Hey everybody. Yeah, I can't. What I have here in my hand, I know you can't see it, but you can probably hear it. Um, is something that I printed out off of Twitter. I actually downloaded the picture as best I could. And this is basically a 5.5 page letter by Jim Miller. Yeah, Jim Miller, known as the biggest Jim on Twitter. And basically, he had this uploaded. I think he had this uploaded at about. If I can pull it up here. 2 days ago, actually on Friday, he posted this around 7:30 a.m. or 7:38, around 7:40 a.m. my time. He started posting this 6 page deal. And I want to read it off to you guys just in case maybe you don't see it on Twitter or you can't read it or download it. I'm going to read it off to you right now. So here's what it says. This is by Jim Miller at The Biggest Jim, and I quote, and I quote, "So this is the end, basically June 21st. Today, June 21st, is my last day on MLP FIM, as well as my last day at DHX. It's a strange feeling. I've known that this day has been coming for almost 2 years now. I've even known the actual date for my last day for some time. June 21st, 2019. I was looking through some old paperwork as I was cleaning up my desk and found my original start date, June 14th, 2010. I've been on this ride for a week over 9 years. Crazy. It's incredible to think I came on this show, or it's incredible to think about. I came on this show as a board artist, backfilling when the original artist moved on, which is somewhat common in the animation industry, to do episode 123, The Cutie Mark Chronicles. The Cutie Mark Chronicles. Everyone who had come to MLP had varying degrees of tradipitation, or tradipitation, whatever you call it, about working on this project. And I was no different. Remember, this is the summer of 2010, a good 5 months or so from the series premiere. Probably a year from it starting to make big internet buzz and amassing you guys as its fan base. But even in those early days, you could tell there was something special about the show. Lauren's concepts and designs were so appealing. The commitment to sincerity in the storytelling was apparent when I read Mitch's script. Jason and Wutu were doing some crazy things with Flash that the program wasn't supposed to. And all the artists and production staff were working hard to take this as an opportunity to make the show something unique and honest. I apologize for my reading a bit here. It feels like, it's one big paragraph instead of broken up, Anyway, continuing on. 9 years later, so much has changed, and so much has stayed the same. People moved on, people stayed, and people moved up, myself included. I was fortunate enough to be asked to run the storyboard department in Season 2, working with an amazing team of artists. Some remained from Season 1, and some new folks came in to round out the roster. I guess I didn't mess things up too badly because they asked me to stay on for Season 3, then to oversee boards for the first Equestria Girls DVD project. At that time, Wutu had moved on to direct on uh, Watu had moved on to direct on another show, and I was working closely with Jason on the storytelling side. Once we knew season 4 was coming, I was honored to be asked to join them as a co-director. We were a good team, but with the announcement that Hasbro was wanting to develop an MLP feature, it made the most sense for him to move on to direct that. I was again very lucky to be promoted to the Supervisor Series Director midway through Season 5, and it's a position I've been privileged to hold on to, and it's a position I've been privileged to hold on to this its last day. He's kind of worded it uniquely there. I can't tell you how proud I am of the work we've done on this show, and what an honor it's been for me to work on it. But this show has never been about just one person. While we were working on bringing you new episodes each and every day of the past 9 years, we've always referred to it as our show. It belonged to everyone. Everyone made a contribution, and everyone working on it had the opportunity to have a voice and be heard. Well, just getting a scratch there. Hold on. Had an itch there. Okay, continuing on. I've been crazy fortunate and honored to attend many MLP conventions over the years and talk to fans, and they all express their thanks and gratitude to me. But it's not me who makes this show what it is. It's the cast and crew who work so ridiculously hard to keep the show at a level of quality that's expected and to push it further each and every time. We set a high bar with each season. In each new season, these men and women surpassed it. I am not a religious man, but it is without hyperbole for me to say I have been incredibly blessed to have worked with quite possibly the best cast and crew working shoutouts or working shoutouts. I guess he kind of skipped a few things. Hold on. All right. It will be impossible for me to list every single person by name, but everyone involved is worthy of your thanks, adoration, and attention. Adoration and attention. There's the ones who should be invited to cons. They're the ones who should be invited to cons. Ask for autographs and on panels. And if I miss anyone, as my friend Sean says, charge it to my head, not my heart. To our main cast, Taya, Andrea, Ashley, Kathy, Tabitha, Kelly, Nicole, Shannon, and Kazumi, our regular recurring cast supporting our regular recurring supporting players, Peter, Vincent, Britt, Andrew, Ian, Kathleen, Lee, Richard, Brian, Michael, Ali, Marika, Michelle, Claren, Mandy, Brenda, and so many more. To the new students, Catherine, Gavin, Devin, Lauren, and the aforementioned Vincent and Shannon. And sorry for just moving got a little bit of a niche. Hold on there. And to the over 100 other individual actors who appeared over the entire run of MLP. Thank you. It's been a real treat working with you, getting to know you, laugh with you, and experience your talents firsthand. It may be cheesy to say this with a pun, but you were both, literally and figuratively, the voice of the show. You all breathed life into these characters and made them real. Without you, this show would have been a lot less fun. Right. All right. To our amazing roster of celebrity guests, John for setting the standard of quality and professionalism with the recurring role of Discord, and to Weird Al, Patton, Lena, Rachel Bloom, Felicia, Meredith, Alice, Maurice, and Mr. Shatner. I don't think I've earned the right to call him Bill. Thank you for taking time out of your busy lives to lend us your voices to play on our fantasy world, and for lending us your names to help draw attention to this little show that could. And thank you to our voice director, Terry, and voice coordinators, Joanne, Gina, and Adrian, for keeping us on task and organized in the voice records. To our story editors, Rob, Megan, Mitch, Joanne, and Christine, Josh, and Nicole, thank you for running our story department and helping to try and to keep the show true to its original vision. Thank you for your insight, friendship, ideas, and patience in putting up with my notes. I can't imagine what it's like wrangling around all those writers, so you must all surely deserve medals. Speaking of writers, thanks to Lauren, Mitch, Megan, Amy, Josh, Gillen, Mike, Meriwether, Dave, Ed, Joanne and Christine, Charlotte, Rob, Cindy, Nick, and all the other amazing scribes that contributed over the years. Thank you for sharing our stories with us, for giving our cast such hilarious words to speak and adventures to go on. You're all amazing, and I'm sure you'll all make whatever shows you're working on now all that much better for having you to be part of them. To our storyboard artists, Mike W, Mike M, Sharon, and Nicole, and our storyboard artists, the visual writers, actors, stage setters, choreographers, and visual joke tellers of the show, Sabrina, Joel, Nicole, Dave, Jay, that's Jae, Kenny, Raven, Sharon, Katrin, Christina, Tala, Cora, Corey, Kaylin, Desire, Tori, Carrie, Aslyn, Megan, Jocelyn, Justin, Tom, Mike, Emmett, and all the others who lent us the wrist, talents, eyes, and brain to build the visual language of the series. You are also great at telling a story, expanding on what was in the script, and making characters live in such a real and defined world. Not to mention all your crazy and innovative jokes you contributed to every episode, so inventive jokes you contributed to every episode. Thank you all. You're forces to be reckoned with, and I'm sure you're elevating the level of the shows you're on now. Man, he just does a lot of thank yous here. Man. Okay, so I'm gonna make this real quick. So he thanks the design team for creating all the characters the fans love and adore, pushing the visual look forward with each passing season, and staying consistent to the original design style. He thanks them for surpassing that. He thanks the incredible builds team for taking the character and background designs and making them animatable. It's a thankless task, but more important than anyone gives credit for. So he thanks them. He thanks the peerless layout crew who translates the storyboards into animable scenes. He thanks them always by saying always pushing the limits and pushing those expressions. He thanks everyone at Top Drawer in the Philippines who did the bulk of the animation work. He never got to meet in person, and thank them for the basically he thanks everybody at Top Drawer Animation in the Philippines who did a bulk of the animation work, and that while he never got to meet in person, their contributions were invaluable, appreciated, and loved. and that they never cease to surprise them with the quality of work they sent back. He does thank the in-house animation team, who also did a fantastic job. Also did fantastic stuff, as he puts it, elevating the series into new heights with each episode. Sometimes in TV animation, you're stuck with what you get and what you have time for, but that these people, these in-house animators, always push the envelope, challenging themselves to do better. And then he thanks the editors: Tom, Rachel, Maggie, Aaron, Mark, Greg, Matt, Palu, and Iron for the wonderful editors, for the storytelling, sense of timing, patience, putting up for the storytelling, sense of timing and patience, putting up with sitting with him and I'm sure Nicole and Megan in a small, dark, and often hot little room for hours on end. He says a big thank you to all the production and coordinators and managers, and basically thanks them for telling them where to go, what they were supposed to be doing, and how long they had to do it, and that there would be no show without them. He thanks the audio boys at Dick and Rogers for making the show sound its best and putting the final polish on making the whole episode come together. There's no better sound crew in the biz. He goes on to thank Will Anderson and his assistants Kelly and John, and that no one was more of a consistent presence on the entire run of the series, scoring over 100 hours of music, and said if there was ever if there was an he goes on to say that if ever there was an unsung MVP of the show, it's the score. It makes you feel what you want to feel and does so without drawing too much attention to itself. So he thanks them. He goes on to thank Daniel Ingram by saying that MLP has featured over 100 unique and beautiful songs, all written and composed by Daniel Ingram. And he says thank you to him and his crew for the wonderful, catchy, and inspiring songwriting, and that the talent for crafting earworms in an unsurpassed, basically he says your talent for crafting earworms is unsurpassed, and I'm sure I'll be randomly singing them in the shower for years to come. He goes on to thank the producers Sarah Wall and Devin Cody on the series. He thanks them for running such a great production, keeping things upbeat, and always being approachable and flexible. Thanks them for assembling the best group of talented folks possible for the project, and for trusting him enough to move up to the director position, and always supporting all of them, and that their leadership is inspired. He goes on to thank Jason, Watu, Denny, Tim, and Mike, his fellow directors on the series, and that the fact that they've all taught him so much about directing a series, how to run a crew, and how to be professional, and he thanks them for the guidance. He goes on to thank the executives at Hasbro for always being so great, that being Linda, Mike, Brian, not me, but another Brian, Eliza, Colin, Leslie, and Megan, and says thank you for always trusting them with the property, allowing them to try weird stuff, and fighting for our crazy ideas, and that they couldn't ask for a better or more collaborative client to work with. He goes on to thank Isha, Katrin, Angela, and all the crew over on Equestria Girls. Thank you for taking on this spin-off project that by all rights could have been forgettable and making it their own. That they managed the unthinkable by staying true to the main show while carving out their own identity and imbuing it with its own unique sensibilities. Now that's something coming from Jim Miller. Now that there was him thanking the crew responsible for Equestria Girls. That that thing there where he said you managed the unthinkable by staying true to the main show by carving out your own identity and imbuing it with its own unique sensibilities. So in other words, what he's saying is even though Equestria Girls is a spin-off, it still stays true to Friendship is Magic by always going back to basically saying, yeah, this came from that and it's based in that world. But it has its own identity. All right. Next up, he thanks all the support staff at DHX and Hasbro who kept the reels greased and the production moving. Truly the unsung heroes of all cartoon production. He goes on to say a special thank you to Bonnie Zachary for establishing this franchise in the first place and enabling all that to follow. Okay. He does say a special thank you to Bonnie Zachary for establishing the franchise in the first place and enabling all that followed. And then he says an extra special thank you to Lauren Faust, for creating this generation of MLP. He mentions that her designs and visions and direction established such a strong foundation that allowed them to reach the greatest heights, and that they always endeavored to stay true to her original vision for the series whenever they could. And that while they won some battles and lost others, they always kept her in mind. And he says, while he's sure the show evolved into areas well beyond what Lauren originally foresaw, he hopes that she could have watched what they did after. Or he says he hopes that she ever or he hopes that should she ever watch what they did after she left, that maybe once or twice we produced something that would have made her proud. All right. Okay, so with that said, here's the part for the fans. Because again, he thanks Lauren before he gets to the fans, and this is what he says. And he says, and I quote, and I can't wrap up my 9 years on this project without thanking you, all the fans and viewers of the show over the run, whether you've been on this train the whole time, dropped off seasons ago, or are still fairly new to the herd. Thank you for watching our work, for reviewing and commenting on it, debating its value and quality, allowing it to inspire you to create art, music, crafts, writing, anything of your own, for being part of the community, for running conventions, inviting all of us weirdos to attend and listen to us talk about our silly jobs, for giving so selfishly to charity at conventions, to community members in need and supporting each other. It warms my cold, dead heart to see people reflecting the tenets of the show and embodying the elements of harmony in the real world. Sharing laughter with friends, being honest with each other, giving generously of yourselves, being kind to one another, staying loyal to those you love, and the things that matter to you. It really is the magic of friendships that make this whole endeavor worthwhile. I'm so lucky to have been part of it and to have shared your experiences with me and to have you alongside all of us on this journey. I know you'll continue to keep this show in your hearts and minds and on the internet for many years to come. So yeah, he's definitely given a lengthy letter, I'll say that. I'll just check something in for a second, see where I'm at. Oh yeah, 24 minutes. Anyway, but yeah, he thanks Lauren basically by acknowledging that what I do like it that what I do I mean I do appreciate that he's thanking everybody, kind of like he's winning an award at the Oscars or the Annies and stuff like that. But I like the fact that he did save, I guess you consider the two people responsible for making this, allowing this to happen. That being the original creator of MLP, Bonnie Zacharine, and then Lauren Faust for bringing this generation of MLP to life by also acknowledging that they tried to stay true to her vision and then evolve it as well as kind of acknowledge that, yeah, we wanted to do this because it was your idea, but we couldn't kind of do. So I like what he did there, and I like the fact that he says that if she ever does get an opportunity to watch what they've done afterwards, that hopefully they've done something that will make her proud. And I'm pretty sure she's proud of it anyway. Maybe except for Equestria Girls, but that's another story. um, okay. He goes on to rap. Okay. Since this was posted the day before yesterday, he goes on to say this, and I quote: as an attempt to wrap this rather long-winded message, or as an attempt to wrap up this rather long-winded message, it may be the end of the road for me, but there's still a lot left for you all. But there's still a lot left for you all. The mid-season finale airs tomorrow, and there's still a whole half of the season of fun and adventure coming your way before you're done. It's my sincerest hope that you'll enjoy these last 13 episodes as much as we had fun making them for you. We love this show, and we love these girls as much as you do. We hope that love shines through. We're so happy that we were able to give the main six and the boy Spike a proper send-off, and in my opinion, it's a satisfying one. That's something to think about right there. There are things that get wrapped up and things that don't. We would have loved to have more time to address all the unanswered questions over the lifetime of the series, and while we do touch on some, we just can't hit them all. We made an effort to try and include one last look at as many past characters as we could, even if they only appear in the background. And I'm really just happy that we're getting an ending and not just fading away. Hopefully you feel the same way too, and if not, that's what fanfic is for. Fanfiction. And one last note. I don't know what's next for this property. I'm sure it's only a matter of time before it gets relaunched, rebooted, reintroduced. I ask you, if you're a fan of G4, to at least give whatever replaces it a look. It's likely that the crew on that show will have worked just as hard as we did on our version, and will love the characters as much as we loved ours. So give it a fair shake. And he finishes off by saying, he says, okay, enough out of me. I'm not sure what's next for me at this point. Aside from a well have worked just as hard as we did. Oh, okay. He continues it on. I'm sorry. He says, okay, enough out of me. I'm not sure what's next for me at this point, aside from a real needed rest. Wherever I end up, I'll be sure to tell you about it once I can. And I hope you'll check it out, along with the numerous projects all our talented cast and crew have moved on to. It's been an absolute pleasure, honor, and privilege. I keep using those same words, but nothing seems to stay better. To have been one of the many stewards and caretakers of the show. I don't suppose something like this will come along in my career again, and I will always look back on it fondly. For the last time, Big Jim, supervising series director, My Little Pony Friendship is Magic. TLDR. Thank you to all the cast and crew. Thank you to the fans. I love you all. Okay, so yeah, that's a big one, and he does have a signature on it, so I might use that as my thumbnail when you see this. But anyway, yeah. Basically, I like. So basically, it's just like, it's basically like when you graduate and you're asked to do a speech or something like that, or you're invited to do a speech at a graduation, and you give a speech that lasts for, who knows, maybe a couple of moments, or in my case, a half hour. Or it's kind of like doing a reward speech, that, or a retirement speech. Although he's not retiring, But again, I like the fact that he is thanking. He basically he just thanks everybody that's worked on the show, from the writers, his fellow writers, directors, animators, and all that. Sound people, musicians like Dale Ingram and all them, and even the guest celebrities that have come in, like Rachel Bloom, William Shatner, Weird Al Yankovic, John DeLucy. Yeah, yeah, I think that's his name. John Delancey, I should say. John Delancey. Too many that we may have not even noticed, but even I think even Lauren Hall, who did Rah Rah in Main Attraction. Now, I like the fact that not only does he thank Bonnie Jacqueline, who created the franchise in the first place, but he also thanks Lauren Faust and acknowledges that they tried to keep true to her vision, as well as as well as at the same time evolve to that next to another level. And I like how he's humbly saying to Lauren, if she's reading it, yeah, there were some ideas that we wanted to keep in that we got to do that you some ideas that you wanted that we got to keep in and make a reality, and some that we couldn't because they wouldn't let us. So I like what he did there. I really do. Um, and I like the fact that again he thanks the fans, thanks them for everything they've done, from putting conventions together, for contributing a lot of the financial gain that they get to charities and other, um, you know, other places like maybe Ronald McDonald houses and stuff. So, or helping to build to the next convention, or helping the fellow conventions and stuff. So, it's great that he did all that. And I do like, and I'm just adjusting my mic here on my headset, and I do like the fact that he does come out and say that basically, I mean he's being honest, and I think as fans we should expect this, that they are basically in the second half going to be wrapping up a lot of stuff, but there are some things that they never had a chance to wrap up but that what they've done so far, hopefully we will be happy with and enjoy. And I like the fact that he does say that what they've done with the main six and Spike is they've given him a proper send off. What that's going to be and how satisfying it is to us as fans, I think is going to be up to interpretation. But if he's saying it's a satisfying one, then we'll just have to wait and see. It's going to be really interesting to see exactly what kind of send off they get. I mean, I have my theories. I honestly think perhaps Twilight and her friends are going to hand off power to the fellow ponies, and every other nation's going to follow suit. Again, I don't. Again, that's just a theory. Um, but but I like the fact that he says there are some things that are going to wrap up and everything they do touch upon, and he does. Like I said, he is honest that there are some things they wanted to, but they just didn't have time for. But I appreciate the fact that he says, "Hey, even though we don't have time for it, that's where you guys come in with your fan fiction and web comics and even your own animations." Because when he thanked us, the fans, he acknowledged all the effort that we put into music and art and crafts and all that. Art base and animation is basically art. So I love that he mentioned that, and it kind of gives the fans an opportunity to be like, okay, maybe they couldn't answer it, but we're going to do our best as to do something similar to what they did. I mean, I'm sure Jim has read the two web comics and slash audio dramas that originated as fan fictions by Disney Fanatic, and those being, of course, Bride of Discord and Daughter of Discord. So I'm sure he listened to those and enjoyed them, and that's basically what he's getting at is, hey, if we could put effort into something like that, then we could put then who knows what the possibilities are to help kind of wrap up some stories that they couldn't answer or couldn't wrap up themselves, or answer some questions they didn't have time to finally answer. But overall, it's a nice thank you letter, and I would just want to close this out by saying thank you to Jim for being here for being part of the show and being there for the fans, and even communicating with the fans like myself, for everything. Answering our questions and everything. I mean, I understand. I even did a video on it where I talked about the fact that NDR, your NDA, prevents you from saying things, so you can't really tell us, oh, this is gonna happen, that's gonna happen, or stuff like that. So I can respect that, but I do again appreciate, like everybody here, what you have done for the series. And you know what, Jim, I would not be surprised if they bring you back, or if you're brought on to work as a supervising series director for Generation 5. I won't be surprised if that happens. But we'll have to wait and see. So again, thank you to you, Jim, for all you've done, and because we all really appreciate it as fans. And like you said, the show wouldn't be anything without us, but the show, in a sense, wouldn't be anything without you and your fellow creative crew from Nicole Dubuque, Megan McCarthy, Lauren Faust, M.A. Larson, Josh Haber, and the like. So, but again, guys, that's basically what his letter was. I will provide a link in the description if you can look at it on Twitter. Check it out yourselves. And that's really all I'm going to say, guys. So, comment down below. Tell me what you all think. And I will talk to you all later. Peace out.